Okay, so this is kind of a test that I want to do to see if people appreciate these kind of videos. I'm actually making this video because I had a run-in today that it struck some emotion and it got my nerves going a little bit, and I don't understand how things work, how people think the way they do sometimes. I try to, but it can get really challenging. But so today's topic of discussion is arguments and how you should approach them and why. So today I had a disagreement with not necessarily a friend, but more of an acquaintance, and it was a political disagreement. But let me just say, I don't want to talk about one specific topic in this video. I just want to talk about the sake of just arguments themselves. Now, this person disagreed with me, obviously, hence the argument. And we had a really good discussion for a good, a number of minutes, probably 10, 15 minutes, and they made some very valid points. And I personally believe in an argument that if you actually care about what the other person has to say, instead of, you need to wait and listen to what the other person has to say instead of waiting for your turn to talk. That's how a lot of educational discussions can avoid being arguments. So I feel like this person didn't really care about what I had to say, and they just kept talking about their side, and that's fine. I was listening to it, trying to find some reason in what they were saying, and I found a little bit, but not enough to make me sway my opinion because of how they approached it. I brought up some points about what they were talking about, and I proved them wrong on a couple of things, and this angered them, and eventually it got to the point to where instead of arguing facts about their side, they were insulting me, and instead of adding something constructive to the argument, they just insult after insult after insult. It got personal, so I just had to respectfully end the conversation. Now, I've had this happen to me several times. Why start the argument if you're not informed enough to argue it? Why even start it? And if you figure that someone knows more than you about the topic, maybe listen to what they have to say before you start insulting them. Because at that point, at least to me, the argument is over. You have nothing intelligible to say, so I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just going to close it off, be the bigger person, and move on, walk away, whatever you have to do. And this person really didn't like that I approach things that way, and I can't believe it's even a thought. Why would you bother to keep talking about something if you're not informed? I really don't get this, guys. And if you guys have had experiences like this in the past too, I would love to hear them. But personally, I really can't do it. Now I'll give you guys a couple of examples here. So the one that really I get into discussions about a lot is, I'm not really an atheist. I just don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything. I guess the proper term for that is a nihilist. But I don't really care for labels. I don't. And the reason I am is because I'm very informed when it comes to religion. I went through a Christian church, a Lutheran Christian church, and I got confirmed in the Christian faith. I went to Sunday school every Sunday for about 4 years. I learned about the scriptures. I was so devout that at one point, every time I thought about sex, I would say, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, God, I should not be thinking of that." It was bad. It was really bad. And so I learned a lot about religion. I wanted to learn more to make sure that I was doing things the way that I was supposed to. And I found that a lot of devout Christians don't actually believe in their own beliefs that they say they believe in. So that being said, I started to question more and more, and I eventually discovered, hey, I don't agree with any of this, and because there's contradictions, this, that, and the other, I just don't believe. So, moving on, I would get into discussions with people who would say, "Oh shit, you don't believe in God? You need to be saved. I have to talk to you. I have to convince you to believe, or else you're going to go to hell." And we would go back and forth and talk about religion, and eventually I would say something about the Bible that they didn't know, that they were clueless about, and they're like, oh, it really says that? Instead of thinking about it in a reasonable manner, they would get angry and say, well, you're just insulting my religion. It's like, no, that's actually in the scripture. That's actually something in there, word for word. Read it. And this would make them really upset. So they would just say things, they would immediately bring the argument down and say, well, you're just going to go to hell then, and there's no reason to save you because you're so far gone that you're going to rot in hell. And to me, that doesn't even make any sense why you would take that approach, especially if you're a devout Christian or Catholic or whatever you are. In most organized religion, it is improper to approach the situation that way. You should respect your fellow man. So by saying, oh, well, you're damned to hell, you're a lost cause, you're already breaking one of the 10 Commandments. You're not treating your fellow man as you would want to be treated. So how misplaced are you? How lost are you if you're going to say stuff like that? I don't understand why you would take an educated discussion or argument for the sake of the video and completely just flop it on its back and say, well, I'm just not going to contribute to the discussion anymore, and I'm going to insult you and your personality because I don't have any more knowledge to give the argument. That's insane. That whole thought process. Why do we do that? I understand being defensive. I'm a defensive person, and I'm working on it. I wish I wasn't so defensive sometimes, but why end an argument that way? Just you could end it in much better ways and say, well, maybe I need to go learn more about this before we talk more about it. You obviously are more informed, or I'm sorry that I can't contribute any. I don't even know. When I'm wrong in an argument, I'm mad enough to admit it and say, well, hell, I didn't know that, and let me go learn about it, or I apologize for standing on the other side in this argument because I was clearly wrong. I am man enough to admit I'm wrong, but that's the thing. 90% of Americans they're not able to do that. It's impossible for them to think I'm wrong on a topic. Really, you think you're right about everything? That's hilarious. That you think that. So anyway, guys, TLDR really is, if you're gonna have a discussion about something and you're not well informed on it, and you find yourself to be on the side where you start realizing you're wrong, don't just throw the argument by insulting the other person. Why would you do that? That's ridiculous. It's completely a waste of time. You're wasting your time, you're wasting that person's time, and they never end good. That's how friendships are lost. It's so bad, and I really hope that at least if one person agrees with me on this topic, then I've done my job. But I can't believe it. But anyway, guys, I just kind of want to wrap this up. That's been Real Talk with Reggie, and until next time, guys, cheers. Anyway, horror in general is always something that's going to be on the channel, but I do love big-hitter titles if they're good. Like, I love the Bethesda titles like Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Not the MMO. The Elder Scrolls MMO was a travesty. I've been playing through Metal Gear 5, which is a great game, by the way. But yeah, all in all,